The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN just after 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Thursday morning. We got markets kicking things off in positive territory, getting a little bit of a lift overnight. We have a bigger number this morning for weekly initial jobless claims. We'll get into that in a moment, but we start things off with the S&Ps. We trade lower last night, 45.14. You're positive by 20 points right now on the session, but we're a good 30 points off of the lows we had last night as the market continued to trade lower. Even after the close last night, we close out the session at about 45.24. You trade down to 45.14 at just about almost 7 p.m. Eastern Time before the markets start to rise a bit. You see the action overnight, though. All things considered, pretty low volatility. You're talking about a 20-point range, basically, in the S&Ps. NASDAQ 100. We're up right now more than 1%, 153 points. You actually made it down to a 14,000 handle last night. NASDAQ, all the headlines last night, NASDAQ correction territory. You're talking about correction territory, as in 10%. Talking about on the NASDAQ pulling back, getting a lift of 1% right now. You put this thing on a daily, though. Look at that pullback, man. You are back to basically prices that we were seeing in July. Right? You always talk about it, but man, you get back 6 months in the span of basically a couple weeks, almost a few weeks to kick off the trading year. We're trading at 15,187 this morning on the NASDAQ. You got the Dow back above 30,000. Now the Dow gives back 8 months of gains. 8 months, the Dow trading right where you were in May of last year. Remarkable when you look at that. The Russell right now positive by 8 points, but you're talking about a Russell below the consolidation area. You put the Russell on a 3-year weekly, you see the action for the better part of 2021. You're talking about below most of the price action we saw in 2021. Quite a divergence when you pull up the Russell after looking at the NASDAQ 100. NASDAQ 100, you kick off 2021, we're trading at 12,800. You're talking about more than almost 20% still above that number, whereas the Russell, quite a laggard below that number. You got Bitcoin back to a short-term time frame, 15-minute chart. Bitcoin getting a lift this morning, back near the highs we saw yesterday, up near 42,500. You got crude at 85.68 after trading to an 86 handle yesterday. Gold having quite a day yesterday, and it's continuing today. Gold up another $3 at 18.46. We just hit 18.47.50. We jumped to silver. Silver catching a bid as well, up to 24.42. We're positive by 19 pennies on silver. And we jump to notes and bonds, and we're getting a little bit of a reprieve, folks. We are getting higher price and lower yield, higher price and lower yield. I mean, the moves here from where we were early on Wednesday morning, I say early, 3 in the morning, you're talking about 21 ticks higher. 21 ticks higher. We're talking about a yield right now of under 1.83%. We were approaching 1.9% early yesterday to kick things off. So you have yields rising right at about 1.3%. I mean, remarkable, right? You are back to basically where we were Sunday night in yields. Now, again, for some context of where we've been, quite the pullback, really quite the pullback, even from December 20th, right? You were trading at 131.18 in the 10-year. You just basically fell out of bed to the tune of 4+ points in the 10-year. Mammoth move in the span of basically exactly 1 month. It is January 20th. That move, folks, December 20th. Man, quite a move over the last 30 days in the 10-year. We jump over to the Vix Volatility Index. Quite the action yesterday, spiking to above 24. 23.99 technically is the high yesterday. We're back to 22.96 right now, backing off a bit as the markets get a little bit of a lift. All right, let's jump over to headlines. We'll kick it off with the economic news of the morning. Jobless claims surging is the headline. Now, Kevin Hincks, our man, it was his birthday this week. He's enjoying a beautiful vacation birthday week. We miss him. We'll talk to him next week, next Tuesday. But he always talks about, especially on the jobless claims number, saying, you know, this is a far distant number down the totem pole of the importance of economic numbers that we get. Yes, and it's an important number. But when you're talking about non-farm payrolls, you're talking about CPI, you're talking about wages, right? All of that stuff, very important. Weekly initial jobless claims, not as important. Yes, it is an important economic indicating number, but nowhere near some of the others. And the only thing I'll say is that we're dealing with, folks, a country of 350 million people. The estimates for 200, and it's a little bit higher than 200. We come in at 286. We jump by 55,000. You're talking about tens of thousands of people, which is real human lives, okay? But in the span of the economy, if you're chopping around between 200 and 300,000 folks with all the other volatility going on in this market, yes, you have an uptick there, okay, but you are going to have some volatility, man, especially when you're coming off the holiday season. You have Omicron raging, that impacting some of what's going on. Continuing claims for state benefits rising to 1.64 million. That week ended January 8th, a week slower. And as they say, claims figures have been choppy in the last few weeks, reflecting challenges adjusting for seasonal effects during the holiday period. This season is a season like none other, folks. In fact, claims fell 83,418 to 337,000 last week on an unadjusted basis. New York, Missouri, and Texas were states with the biggest decreases in unadjusted claims. Boy, we're going to have to get a whole show on how they adjust jobless claims, folks, because the adjustments going on are impacted heavily by what's going on with COVID and the impacts going on there, et cetera, as we saw last week as well. Nonetheless, we got a high print this morning. We zoom in on the action on the markets. We were already in higher territory. You almost can't even see that number on the chart, folks. There is 830. So we basically get a small lift and then we give it back. You trade from 45, 42 in the S&Ps. We tick up 8 points. We're back 6 points. The market moves forward with that number. Tech stocks getting quite a lift. A little bit of a reprieve in yield right now as we got the yields back to 1.83%. You have the NASDAQ up about 1%. Let's jump over to some of the FANG stocks and see how they're trading this morning. Apple shares trading at $167. So much for $3 trillion. They're a solid $16. They're almost 10% now. They are away from that $3 trillion mark, how quickly that one moves. Microsoft in the press this week because of their purchase of Activision Blizzard. Now, remarkable, right? That Friday, you're trading at 310. You're still trading at almost 310, folks. You're going to open at 309. Microsoft spent $70 billion in straight cash for Activision Blizzard, and the market, when we have a little bit of sell-off going on, look at the pop that they got yesterday, man. Microsoft was moving. Yeah, they gave it back just as quickly to lower prices yesterday, but you're catching a lift again this morning. And I would imagine, folks, if you are a long-term investor in Microsoft, that is probably an acquisition that will pay off. Probably won't pay off in the next 12 months if you're a short-term investor, but as Microsoft begins to position themselves, as the world moves further and further towards the metaverse, I know I talk about it a lot, folks, but technology is changing rapidly, and you're going to see these types of things happen more and more. I mean, you're going to have headsets around. You're going to have, I talked about it before. The first thing that I did when I discovered the Oculus 2 that I got for Christmas, okay, is that I realized these 360-degree cameras were so cool in terms of the video that they had. Now, I say that because one of the things that you can use the Oculus 2 for is you just go in and watch YouTube videos. And I was just going in there watching 360-degree videos in 8K, okay, with the Oculus 2 headset. And I could just drop myself into the pyramids of Egypt, right? And I'm standing there looking at the pyramids of Egypt. I said, this technology is amazing. I got to get myself a 360-degree camera that can do 8K video. They're everywhere, folks. And the 8Ks are not, okay? But you're talking about GoPros. And I'll pull it up afterwards because point being, it is happening. This technology, 360-degree video, it's going to become mainstream. It is going to become the future, folks. We'll talk a little bit more when we get back. Stay tuned.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com. educating investors.
What's separating you from the most successful men and women on Wall Street? That's right, information. Having all the information gives us the perspective we need to place the right trades at the right time. The TAS Profile Scanner is the premier market profile-based scanner. Powered by its acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner instantly filters over 2,500 plus global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. This powerful suite of tools leverages instant trade filtering and strategy formulation to show you emerging trades before they happen. For a limited time, you can save $100 off your first month by using the promo code UPGRADE, and you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Level the playing field with the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find under the Services tab at TFNN.com. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&Ps right now. You're trading up 21 points. We got about 12 minutes until the opening bell. So just continue with the conversation real quick, because I was not aware even myself in terms of how quickly this technology had become super mainstream here. You're talking about 360-degree 4K cameras, folks, selling for $130, straight up new from Samsung. Okay, now these are not the cameras that are going to produce the videos that you're going to enjoy if you do have a VR headset. But the point is that it is already a technology that is available to the masses in $130. You're going to see it happen, folks. Technology, cameras, I've talked about it before. If you're having a big event, right? If you have family members that are having like a wedding out there, something like that, they're going to start getting filmed in 360 degree. I imagine if I was a wedding videographer or something like that, I would be purchasing that camera today, because it's going to differentiate you. And it is very cool to think about in the future. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years in the future, you slap on a headset and you literally get to walk through your wedding taking place 10 years ago in 3D fashion, seeing everyone hanging out. It's going to happen. You don't necessarily need to be in Facebook or Meta to profit from the changes that are going to be taking place. I encourage you to think about it, folks, because the technology is happening, and 2D pictures are going to be a thing of the past. And I kid, they're going to be around for a while. But when you have 360-degree 4K cameras getting sold for under $130 brand new, this is from BH Photo and Video, a very professional store. Now, you want to up the ante a little bit, right? And this is, I was just Googling stuff, but you'd pull up the GoPro Max 360. They got one for $430, retails for $499. I think this thing does 8K. All right, you want to go a little bit lower. You got the Hero 9 Black for $330. That does 5K, 20 megapixel streaming. Pretty startling what is happening here in terms of the leap that you're seeing in terms of the way we're able to photograph life and the way we're able to view that life. So when we talk about Microsoft, purchasing these games, all right, gaming is the first step. That's an easy one in terms of people are already immersing themselves in different experiences. But you're going to see it happen more, folks. You're going to see it happen for work. You're going to see it happen for life. I know I've been talking about it a lot recently, but my brain is spinning a lot because the technology is changing so rapidly, and it's really amusing that I think we've seen a tipping of the scales around Christmas, folks. I got an Oculus. I'm seeing, a bunch of articles written about it. We're now seeing Microsoft make their biggest acquisition ever to position themselves for the metaverse. There is a changing going on right now that is a tipping point that you're going to start seeing companies solidify their position to take advantage of the potential future going on. And it's happened. I encourage you, if you haven't yet, to try an Oculus 2 headset to kind of get a feel for the way that that technology is going to change things. Because I imagine it's going to change it greatly, and you're going to start to see it more and more. Now, EA Sports, right? Check out the boost they got on the news that gaming companies are getting bought up. You do it from 130 to 142. We've given it back a bit from 138. Now, one of the fascinating things about the Microsoft acquisition, you had Activision Blizzard getting punished big time over the last year. Put it up on a 3-year weekly. They bought this at $95 a share. So basically, they probably gave them an average of the price of the first 6 months of the year, which is about $95. You're still below where you were for the better part of 2021 in terms of Activision Blizzard. Not quite the case with EA Sports. Check out EA Sports. Yeah, you're basically trading at 136, which is just below the average that you traded at for the better part of 2021. The company that did jump to mind, and I don't understand these companies well enough, but boy, if you're in the market for a gaming company, how about Roblox? From 76 from 141, trading as recently as 2 months ago. You're getting a 50% haircut from where you were 2 months ago. Talk about getting ahead of yourselves a little bit. Now, I think that's where they went public. Yes, it is. They go public in March of last year. You're almost back to the IPO prices. Now, you pull up the Analyze tab. We're talking about some big-time money, folks. You're talking about a company valued at about $45 billion right now. Now, what was interesting is that they were all in the press, of course, on this run-up they had recently because they became the biggest gaming company in the world, I think, overtaking Activision Blizzard over there, or at least they overtook Activision Blizzard. I guess they wouldn't be the biggest gaming company in the world, but in terms of just a raw video game manufacturer, maker, producer, not much the case anymore. They climb above Activision Blizzard. They fall from 140 to 76. Activision Blizzard now gets a pop on their acquisition from Microsoft. But if you're looking in this sector, folks, everything's in play because these big players out there, Apple, Microsoft, right? You're going to see them all come in. Facebook, Meta. You have gaming companies valued at under $50 billion for companies that are looking to cement their position in the future of technology that are valued at $2 to $3 trillion. We never had a $1 trillion company, folks, until the end of 2018, I believe it was. So, yes, these acquisitions are large, okay, but when you think about the fact of how much the market cap has risen for these huge tech companies that are potentially making these acquisitions, the purchase price is not as obscene as it once was 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, yeah, Microsoft just spent $70 billion for a purchase, which is their biggest ever. But Microsoft's market cap alone, compared to what they purchased, like LinkedIn or other ones, of course, I mean, Microsoft is 3 times the value that it was just 3 years ago. Okay, so 3 years ago, that would have been akin to them spending, $23 billion in terms of market cap. So you can see how these levels will rise as you have the market capitalization of all these companies. But if you're out there looking for a gaming company, folks, it might be a play. I've heard our man Dave White talk about it many times. If you're looking for a company that you think might be in the market for getting scooped up, one of the ways that you can play that, I've heard Dave talk about it, ode to him, great play. I mean, you're paying volatility premium, but you go into an option on Friday, maybe you go a week out, a couple weeks out, but your plan is you buy it Friday, you sell it Monday. Yeah, you have exposure over the weekend if that thing trades lower, but you're looking for some acquisition news, and many times that acquisition news will come over the weekend, as it did in the Microsoft Activision Blizzard play there. So that's a play to think about. Roblox comes to mind, man. They are a different play than something like EA Sports, all right? But Roblox, you're talking about a company valued at $45 billion right now. We jump over to EA Sports, all right? Now look at the pop they've gotten, right? You're right kind of sitting at where they traded the better part of 2021, up near the highs of 2018. We jump over the Analyze tab for EA Sports. You're talking about pretty similar ballpark, about a $40 billion company. Again, completely within the framework of some of these tech companies if they think it will solidify them. And you might see it happen, man, because now that Microsoft controls the franchises that have to do with Call of Duty, etc., you're going to see some of these companies, make sure that you don't see companies like Microsoft start cornering the market of quality games that are produced. Because, yes, Microsoft says they're going to offer all of those games, not all of them. They're going to offer games on PlayStation. Okay, they're not just going to cut off PlayStation because they own Xbox. But guess what? They're going to have high-level discussions, I imagine, for the best competitive advantage they can have. And Xbox is always going to be first and foremost over their mind as opposed to PlayStation. So, I mean, whether it's Sony, whether it's just Facebook making sure that they don't get cut out of all these players getting brought into the gaming system of the gamers out there, nonetheless, they are hot commodities right now. And we found out, rightfully so, last weekend in terms of Microsoft spending $60 billion. You know, they thought they were getting a discount, and they probably were, considering where Activision was trading at, because the demise of this stock had to do with basically scandal, right? It had to do with the environment of the workplace over there. Microsoft thinks they can fix that, and they got quite a haircut in terms of where that was trading at earlier this year. All right, folks, stay tuned. We got markets in positive territory. We're going to be coming right back for the market open. Stay tuned for the opening bell.
Are you having fun trading the markets but having trouble finding like-minded individuals to discuss your trading and investment ideas with? Become an apex predator in the trading markets and join the Tiger's Den Trading Room only at TFNN.com. The Tiger's Den is an exclusive trading room where successful traders from around the world come to exchange trades and ideas. Join the den and surround yourself with the sharpest minds in the trading world. Subscribers to the Tiger's Den are also the first to have their questions answered live on air and can privately chat with our TFNN hosts live during their shows. Interact with other Tigers and Tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day. Subscribe to the Tiger's Den risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee and become part of the TFNN trading community. TFNN, educating investors.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den Trading Room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&P's up 18 points right now. That's a solid 0.4% in the green. NASDAQ 100 NQ futures up about 0.9%. You get the Dow up about 0.3%, and the Russell adding 0.5% right now. Jumping to commodities, we got crude holding pretty well. We'll call it flat at 85.78. We got that gold contract up about $2 at 18.45. Quite a week for gold so far. And we jump to Bitcoin, up $975. A little bit of a lift. Right at about 8:30 this morning. Interesting action on Bitcoin, 42,550. Now we're going to jump to GBTC for a moment. GBTC. Let me see if I can pull this one up quick enough. All right, we'll get this guy up here. GBTC. I want to find you exactly what I'm talking about here, because GBTC right now, folks, has quite a negative premium going on in terms of what they have happening. Now, this trust, okay, it's the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. We're all probably somewhat familiar with it. Now, I'm going to pull up the terms in terms of this is on their own website, okay? So let me make sure. It's Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, all right? We're talking about $27 billion assets under management. That's quite a percentage since inception. Not bad when you're talking crypto, 27,000% since inception. GBTC, we're talking about an annual fee of 2%. Now, the part I want to get down here that's important, okay? And look at that run from when they started. Remarkable. Here is the part, okay? The market price per share is $28.01. Okay, the holdings per share, which represent the holdings of actual Bitcoins, okay, that are in this trust that you're buying shares of. Now, this is a trust. It is not an ETF, so shares cannot be created or destroyed as they usually are in an ETF to correlate to the net asset value of the underlying assets as a part of that ETF. In a trust, you can't create and you can't destroy the shares as happens in an ETF. So what does happen is the fund, if there's accelerated, especially selling or buying, can get above or below the net asset value. So right now, you have about a negative 26% premium, which basically means you can buy GBTC. Now, this was as of the close yesterday, okay? And this is important to understand for everybody, folks. You can buy this at $28.01 as of yesterday. You are buying assets that holdings per share represent $39. Okay, that is quite a premium that you are receiving. Now, here's the thing. This is what happens if you buy this as an institutional shareholder, okay? As an institutional shareholder, you are able to buy into the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, okay? Now, here's the kicker. If you're an institutional investor, though, you have to hold for 6 months. And that is one of the biggest kickers of all. Now, I was Googling this, trying to find out, the exact details of how this plays out, okay? And one of the things that did happen is that back in July of last year, you had the 6-month period ending from January and February. Now, this is interesting stuff, okay? Now, this goes back to, we're talking about an article from Business Insider, generic article, no idea who the writer is, July 11th, 2021, okay? And what this talks about is the lockup period for institutional investors, okay? Now, isn't it amusing how all of my ads, folks, are 360-degree cameras for VR, again, from B&H. Nonetheless, you can see I've been looking at those 360-degree cameras. How one of the largest Grayscale Bitcoin unlock periods will affect the crypto market. Now, this is interesting in terms of how it actually impacted the market, which is not what they were talking about. But it does go to explain how you do want to be aware. Now, this was before ETFs existed as well, because those just came about since this article. But this one talked about that 40,000 Bitcoins were coming unlocked in July, basically meaning that you had many institutional investors, here they go, due to the nature of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, institutional investors who buy the fund directly must hold the shares for 6 months before selling on the secondary market, okay? Many lockup periods are ending in July. With 650,000 Bitcoins in trusts, roughly 5% of the fund could be sold in the span of the few weeks. I mean, look how this happened, right? So you have, this is interesting how it goes here. Yeah. In December and January, so this is going back, they had inflows of $2 billion and $1.7 billion. So what happens is 6 months into the future, because of the direct inflows, a significant extent of the GBTC premium monetization trades by hedge funds and other investors, and the 6-month lockup period expired in June and July. These investors are likely to sell at least of those pairs. Now, here's where it really gets complicated, okay? Because we go back, there's GBTC. We'll go back a full year. There's July 11th, folks. talk about an acceleration the other way, right? We came into that period, and that was basically the jumping off point for Bitcoin. If we pull up the futures here, you go to July 11th, you're talking about 32,000. Bitcoin traded all the way up to 69,000 later in the year. But important to understand for GBTC, okay, it's trading right now at $29. And the fund's value has Bitcoin value of about $38. Eventually, you should meander back to that mean, but doesn't mean you'll do it anytime soon, as we've all seen. Nonetheless, important to understand for GBTC. Interesting stuff going on. All right, let's jump around to some of the other companies we got moving today. Let me find what we got going. Here we go. We're going to kick it off with, what do we got? Some earnings. American Airlines, we got their numbers out today. Slightly higher revenue, narrower loss than expected. Seems like it's going to be a tough first quarter for the airlines. They may get things going in the second, third, and fourth quarters. American, highest revenue of the pandemic during the fourth quarter. Bookings rose, but still reported a loss. Over the past year, we've experienced periods of high travel demand, countered by periods of decreased demand. Yeah, they got an ebb and flow going on in a big way. Their CEO, stepping down in March, said, "This volatility has created the most challenging planning environment in the history of commercial aviation." I wouldn't argue there, man. I cannot imagine being an executive of one of these airlines trying to figure out supply and demand right now. You got American down 1.1% on their earnings so far this morning. And what else we got? That was not what we had there. There we go. We also have United out with their numbers. $1.60 a share for the fourth quarter. Market was looking for a loss of $2.11, so they lost $1.60. Not a profit. United loses $1.60. They were supposed to lose $2.11 though. Revenue top forecast. And of course, the Omicron variant hurt short-term bookings, yet it expects that negative impact to be temporary. And United was a little bit lower. I imagine they are going to be a little bit lower on the open by about 0.4%. We jump over to some of the other airlines. Delta's positive by 1.3%. Domestically, you got JetBlue positive by about 0.5%. Southwest positive by about 1% right now. All the markets catching a little bit of a lift. You got the NASDAQ up 1.1% now, 15,195. Let's jump to Netflix shares. Netflix up 1.6% right now. We put this thing on a 3-year weekly. Quite the rise to $700. You pull back to $524. Netflix has their earnings after the bell tonight. Going to be interesting to see what they come out with. You jump over to the Analyze tab. You're talking about a $36 move priced into their numbers in either direction. We jump over to the options chain, just even if you want action through tomorrow. Okay, and you're talking about at the money, about 18 or $19 in either direction to get your money back. That's where you add them both together. You got about a $36 move in either direction. And Netflix, they'll be out with their numbers after the bell tonight. That's always one that has some volatility on it. Interesting, the pullback, you get to 523. Now you jump over to the Analyze tab and go to the fundamentals. We're talking about a company valued at about $230 billion. Netflix shares. Quite a pullback, though, from $700 to 522. Right in the middle of that consolidation area, from about 475 up to about 560. Netflix kicks off the tech sector streaming with their numbers after the close tonight. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got all the markets catching a little bit of a lift, even from the open. You got the S&Ps right now up 31 points. You're talking about 0.7% in the green. NASDAQ 100 surging. We're up 1.3%, almost 191 points. You got the Dow up 0.5%, back above 35,100, 35,103, and the Russell joining the fun as well, up about 0.75% right now. Hang Seng. How about China? Hang Seng jumping 3% as China cuts key lending rate, property, and tech soar. Jumping over to the headline there. There we go. China stocks rally with tech, property in the lead amid easing bets. Hang Seng China Enterprises Index jumps 3.8%. Quite a number. You had technology, developers, financial shares among the top gainers in the Hang Seng China Enterprise Index, rallying 3.8%. Okay, so that's the Enterprise Index was 3.8%. I believe you had the Hang Seng up. What were we up? 3.4%. I got it. So pretty close in terms of where you were. Best day since July of 2020. Central bank has pledged to take further steps to spur the economy, even as the Federal Reserve gears up for tightening. Beijing is quite a different deal going on in China, folks. We talked about it a little bit yesterday in terms of the zero COVID policy backfiring in quite a big way. President Xi is in a tough spot that he really can't back down. Because that won't be saving face at all. You know, the plan was zero COVID and allowing their own developed vaccines to get them over self-reliance, right, is the deal. You're not going to see President Xi go to the point of taking American vaccines to save the Chinese and bail them out. It's just not going to happen. Be interesting to see how that aspect shapes supply chain woes that persist continually. If you see China, I mean, you know, a lot of smart analysts are talking about it, and I tend to agree, folks. That's why I talked about it yesterday on the program, okay? China, on the get-go, had a very enviable position that they took a zero COVID policy, all right? Now, it's not enviable for the poor people over there because they have no freedoms living under Xi, but it was enviable in terms of they locked things down, COVID was gone, they opened things back up, and they were living with the zero COVID policy. And yes, they would shut down a couple cities for a couple weeks anytime they got any cases, but then they'd open it back up and they wouldn't have COVID. GDP in China expanded rapidly in the beginning of 2021, but then you had Delta variant and then you had Omicron variant. The point being, they cannot control the zero COVID policy that they've been trying to enforce. And unfortunately, because they've been trying to do it for so long, they don't have a lot of natural immunity. The vaccines that they developed are just not as effective as the mRNA vaccines and the Pfizer vaccine that we have had along with Europe. So what happens? you're going to see China really battle it out over the next year as you have cases surging. You have areas in China that have no natural immunity because they haven't been exposed, and you might see China locking down cities left and right that could cause some problems with supply chain woes. In terms of Chinese stocks, they've already paid the price, though. I'm talking about the supply chain woes that can affect multinational corporations all over the globe that do business in China. You may see some problems happen over the next year in a big way. All right, let's jump down the line for some of the other stocks that we have action going on today that I wanted to talk about. Wanted to talk about Ford real quick. They get a downgrade at Jefferies. Quite the decline yesterday. Trades from $24.50 down to $22.50. You got a little bit of a pop today, still down 1.2%. You take a look at the long-term acceleration on this equity, though. You were just trading at $12 on September 20th. You're trading at $22, okay? You were just trading at $19 as recently as a month ago, December 20th. The point from Jefferies was, listen, optimism over Ford's electric vehicle plans drove the stock higher than was justified and left very little potential upside. I don't understand the fundamentals of that company, but anytime, folks, you got a stock that basically doubles over the period of 3 or 4 months, you better believe that they have some lofty expectations built into the price of that equity. And you want to see something. Yeah, there's a 5-year chart of Ford, okay? You want to go all the way back? Ford hasn't seen these prices, folks, since 2001. Okay, that's a lot of optimism built into this stock. The COVID lows were down there at $3.96. So Jeffrey's saying, hold on a second, give this thing some room. All that optimism, maybe a little bit much as it pushes from $4 to $26 in the span of about 2 years for Ford shares. Let's see, Regions Financial, they're out with their numbers. With the banks coming out, RF, they are trading lower on missing their numbers. There's Regions down 6%. You take a look at where they've been, a little bit of a shorter time frame. Regions, let me put it back in a year daily. You rise up to $25 on some rising yields. You give it back, you're down to about $22.28 on Regions Financial. Let's jump around to see how some of those other banks are trading right now. JP Morgan, it continues, man. JP Morgan, you're back to July prices, folks. July. Haven't seen these prices since July. Did not imagine on January 13th when you had JP Morgan pushing 170 that you would be trading with a 148 handle in the span of a week. But nonetheless, here we are. JP Morgan continuing to slide a bit. Bank of America, little bit, no, we'll call them flat as well. Citi, a little bit lower by about 0.4%. Wells Fargo have been the strongest out there, and they are positive by about 0.3. This market, it won't stop, folks. Look at this. NASDAQ 100 now up 1.45%, man. Let's see how yields are doing right now. We jump over to the 10-year. Yeah, pretty much where we kicked off the show right now. You're talking about a 10-year yield of about 1.83%. You get the gold contract right now up about $2 at $18.45. All right, continuing to go down the line of some of the stocks that we got. We talked about EA, Discover Financial Services. Let's see. Casper Sleep. How about this thing? Shareholders approved a deal to take the mattress company private. Not bad. CSPR. Yeah, there's a pop for you going into last night. You trade from about 570 up to 636. You're up 11%. Talk about some volatility on this stock, man. What is going on? There's some decent earnings for you. You pop up to 669 over the last few days. Not sure what sent this thing cascading, but just like that, they're going to take it private. You're up about 11% for Casper. All right, other headlines I got up here. How about Amazon? Always in the press, opening a real-world clothing store with high-tech fitting rooms. This one caught my eye because this is going to become the future, folks. I think it was the CEO of Levi that I heard once talking about that. Listen, it is very hard to purchase clothing online, etc., right? But what you're going to happen, folks, technology, it's a matter of when, not if, okay, that clothes are going to start becoming tailor-made. It makes sense. We are at the point right now that there's no reason why you can't just have a computer, right, that 3D virtually maps your body, and then those clothing you're ordering is specifically made for you. I mean, the simple idea, we all know, right? Standard sizing is not always so standard, right? We have our specific brands that we like because maybe they run small, maybe they run big. We have shoes that we like. They run wide, they run narrow. Standard sizing is not always standard. I mean, there's, of course, the idea that stores, right, they love to set their sizing where maybe, if maybe people like to see themselves a little bit smaller than they actually are. So you have clothing stores that maybe their clothes run a little bit big. That allows bigger people to be in smaller sizes. It's a whole mental game. Nonetheless, what's going to happen? High-tech fitting rooms, folks. It's going to happen. I'm going to go over this a little bit more when we get back, but you're going to see it happen, and you're going to see it happen across the board. And guess what? Amazon, they're going to be in the forefront of it as usual. Opening stores for clothing in the physical world. You're talking about located in the Los Angeles suburb of Glendale, California. Going to open later this year. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we get back. And Amazon shares this morning up 0.8%. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are you looking for a secured investment which pays you on a monthly basis? The Tiger First Mortgage Program may be the program for you. The best rate on a 5-year CD in the country right now, according to Bankrate.com, is paying 1% per year or $1,000 per $100,000 invested. The Tiger First Mortgage Program pays 7% per year, paid monthly, on secured, high-value, buildable properties in St. Petersburg, Florida. The investment is for 4 years, paying 7% per year or $7,000 per $100,000 invested. Your investment is secured by high-value real estate in St. Petersburg, Florida. Your investment can be anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. Do you want to make $1,000 per year on $100,000 invested or $7,000 per year on a secured Tiger First mortgage? The Tiger First Mortgage Program may be just the program for you. The Tiger First Mortgage Program pays 7% per year, paid monthly. For more information, you can call 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&Ps right now approaching 1% in the green right now. You're trading up 41 points at 45.65. Just since we opened, you're talking about popping a decent 25 points just since the open on the S&Ps. You get the NASDAQ 100 now approaching 1.5% out there. We've got a question in the den about the GDX from Maria. We're going to take a look at this GDX, man. This gold contract, quite a pop we got this week. You take a look at gold. We're up to 1847. We're back to 1845. Now you take a look at the GDX. Okay, now the GDX is, I got it up here. Let me make sure. Here we go. GDX is VanEck Gold Miners ETF, seeks to replicate as closely as possible the price and yield of the NYSE ARCA Gold Miners Index. Now, when you talk about the holdings, okay, of the GDX real quick, you're talking about Newmont the precious Newcrest, okay? But you look in terms of just the top four, right? 28 plus 9, you're talking about 37. You're talking about 43, almost half, okay, the entire GDX index is Newmont, Barrick, Franco-Nevada, Wheaton Precious, and if you add Newcrest Mining, you are up to basically 50% of that index. Now, the one thing that I found interesting before I talk about it here is that if you're looking for exposure to gold, just be careful in some of them because, man, if you look at the all-time performance of this index, right? I was just doing it during the break. Since its inception in 2006, you are in negative prices. You have lost money if you bought the GDX in 2006. And I know many people just trade this, okay? But this one was surprising to me in terms of quite an underperformance, all right? Now, you want to talk about where gold is? You want to talk about where it is since 2006? There's the same chart for gold. Gold was trading at 576, folks. We're trading at 1,800. And you have the GDX under where it was trading at. Just something to be aware of. I know you're looking for exposure. You're looking for exposure for the mining companies. Sometimes they can move faster. But nonetheless, that one surprised me, to say the least. And you put the GDX on a daily. Yeah, we got a pop here. We may bump into some resistance at about $35. That's what I will put out there to keep on my eye for the GDX. That's an area we've had resistance going back for the better part of about 6-7 months. Thanks so much, folks. Stay tuned. Basil did his show at 8 a.m. It's coming up right now. Live programming the rest of the day, folks. Have a great Thursday.